Okay. Let's there we go. Interesting. That's a simple way to do it. Huh. I don't know why that's so much easier, but I don't understand. I'm still figuring it out, but okay then. I guess we'll go again. So that was part one. I guess part two, the Proverbs. Writings and orations of Ephraim and Jared. Teachings from the book of wisdom, for the pondering and preparation of those who would hear lead. May the hearer be quickened to the heed these words, for the secrets of influence dwell within. Complete this counsel, ye seekers of wealth. For the pathway to prosperity is likewise revealed. To you who are summoned to spearhead a cause, may your mind be opened, that your spirit be filled, to go forth with the power to inspire the many. Behold him again, your time is upon you. Part 1, Prologue. A purpose has been granted unto all those who walk the earth, but only those who seize the opportunities which conceal it will discover the road to which leads to its fulfillment. By the fact that you've enrolled in the school for self-improvement, it is presumed that you are seeking the higher calling to your life. Upon this premise, these teachings shall begin. A purpose has been granted unto all who walk the earth. As you read again these statements, reconcile its words with the path on which you travel. Will the meaning you're seeking be found if you continue? If yes, be commended and proceed on your quest. If no, and a longing for significance lingers in your thoughts, do not despair. For today is the day to redeem yourself with action for returning, by returning to the road which is ready for your steps. Yesterday has departed, tomorrow is not promised. All that remains is what you do with the now. Regardless of the failings or successes of your past, the sum of your experiences has prepared you to prosper in the endeavor now before you. All that you've done and all that you've endured has molded you for the mission which awaits your response. All that remains is to act, to work, to commit, and a leader of many you shall become. And yet be forewarned, the call upon your life, it will not last forever, and you will fall upon the ears of another, the ears of another. For are you eternal that you might defer the appointed hour of your purpose forever? You are not. The hours which are entered in the ledger of your life are limited in number and count off with increasing speed. Lest you embrace the opportunity which beckons the allotment of your days will dwindle in depletion, and you will have lived without leaving a mark. Your marker has designed for you a life of significance and placed within your grasp the plan to make it so, but the decision to accept it is yours alone to make. Act and you will live to make the difference in the lives of many. Defer and you will die without distinction. The seeds of your potential have sifted into the wind. Today heed the calling which whispers in your life. Whispers in your spirit and subdue its summons, not a single second more. Today put away the doubts which delay you and commence on the course which leads to success. An unmanned ship will drift an unanchored ship will drift if left to guide itself. The passage towards your purpose is not without risk, for you embark upon your voyage with vision that is unclear and with questions that are many. How is it possible to sail with surety? You may wonder, when untold others before you, each with abilities far surpassing your own, have drifted from their course and wrecked upon the rock of pride, greed, and other self-induced disasters. Wow. Anyways, Take comfort and be calm, for your Maker has provided the tools to steer you clear of these perilous cliffs. You have only to use them wisely, and your course shall be followed to its completion. Your thoughts have the power to guide you to greatness, or to deceive you to your demise. When bolstered with prayer and the principles of truth, the eternal compass known as thought is the chief device that is given to guide you, and the precision with which you distract it determines who you are, and thus whom you will become. As you have thought this far, you are today. As you think from now, you shall one day be. This is the first proverb, not of leadership, but of life. As you think it, so shall it be. Think, likened to the ray of sunlight through the looking glass, your thoughts care not upon, which they are focused and will shine with intensity in whatever direction they are aimed. If you concentrate on fear and anxiety, it in like manner shall you be led. If you focus upon nothing, you shall wander aimlessly upon the sea of mediocrity. But as those who achieve their greater purpose will attest, if you direct your thinking toward a worthy object, your mind will spur you to embrace and complete it. Be careful to direct your thoughts to the end that you desire, for you will arrive exactly where you focus. Do not allow unpurposed thoughts to determine your destination. Rather, choose the destination and constrain your thoughts to the course which you have set. As you think it, so shall it be. Today, picture in your mind the life you desire and focus your thoughts that it might come to pass. A leader's road to prominence requires many steps. The wise are diligent, not to miss even one. Here. Oh, dang it. My lighting's pretty gosh dang bad. Let's try to make it a little bit better. Just a little bit better lighting. Just no, not happening. Oh, apologize for the terrible lighting. We'll figure it out one day. I've got the lighting is just so gosh dang awful. I'm sorry, guys. It sucks. Oh well, we'll get better one day. Back to the book. The leader's road to prominence requires many steps. The wise are diligent not to miss even one, while the anxious rush ahead and lose their way. Wisdom stands at the pier and shouts its lessons to all who sail in search of success. Sadly, but 1 in 100 will pause their vessel to listen. I'm busy now, the 99 say. Surely I will stop later to hear your message. Yet they do not understand that later means never. They have ears but do not hear. At each time they pass by wisdom, and ignore their message, their ears become increasingly dulled. Soon the callings which lead the way to abundant living will be a faint whisper, obscured by the noises of life. But this will need not be your fate, for wisdom this day has requested to join you. Receive it as a trusted companion, and you will prosper. Your lot is to lead and train others, and do likewise. And today, you embark upon the journey to this end. Acknowledge the greater purpose that exists in your life for your life. Embrace the endeavor which will see it come to pass, and act that its fulfillment shall be timely and certain. Behold, and begin, for your time is upon you. As you think, so shall you be. Have your thoughts wandered aimlessly like a boat upon the sea, without plan or purpose or sense of destiny? If so, this mental drifting is the reason that you've stalled, and remain far and distant from the port to which you're called. Success for you has signaled with the passageway designed, but its shore will not be found until you fix it in your mind. As the mariner his map, your thoughts will be in your chart. If success shall be your end, this must be your start. Set your gaze and lock it on the life that you seek. Visualize achievement, its fulfillment start to speak. For 'tis only when your focus is sharp as the glass, will the goals that you've set be made clear and come to pass. So from here, set a new course with your drifting left behind. How's it going? Good to see you. I guess I can't see you, but I'm glad you're watching. I hope that you enjoy this. Sear its picture in your mind. As you look ahead, know this of destiny. As you think within your heart, so shall it one day be. Chapter 2. Release the past. To find the way forward, find you must first find the way to forgive. Think for a moment upon the endeavor you have chosen and of those who have prospered on its path. Has anyone strolled to its summit of greatness, never to have made a mistake along the way? Heck yeah, Brendan, great. I'm glad you're enjoying this. It's a pretty interesting book. It's called the Proverbs of Leadership, and I just figure I read it from start to finish. I had another stream going, but my my software system disconnected, and so I had to do a second stream. So this is part 2. The first part was telling it just kind of like a historical fake story. What's the right way to say it? Was telling a story, kind of just the base where these principles came from. And then now we got to the part where we're actually in these principles. And so that first principle is where I think you heard it was where you focus is where your thoughts are, that's where you go. So what you focus on is what you'll achieve. If you focus on negative, you'll achieve negative. If you focus on positive, you'll achieve positive. So here is chapter 2. To find the way forward, you must first find the way to forgive. Think for a moment upon the endeavor you have chosen and of those who have prospered on its path. Has anyone strolled to its summit of greatness, never to have been made a mistake along the way? And of those who will follow in their steps, will any arrive unaccompanied by error? Think of life and of the noble pursuits which make it worth living. Are there any among us who have not failed grandly many times in the quest? In truth, there are only 3: the timid soul who is terrified to try, the critical one who has never attempted, and the comfortable one whose dreams are too small. All who strive, who stretch, who reach for the golden ring will err and experience failure along the way. Therefore, be not ashamed of your mistakes, for 'tis better to be bruised as one who has tried and failed than to stand unsullied with the cowards and critics. When an error in judgment or actions brings you low, rise and resolve to continue with your all and try again. There are those, however, whose pain from previous failings will not allow them to progress, for they find themselves chained to the memory. It is these to whom this lesson is addressed. The only shame in failure is to neglect to learn from it. It is tempting to think of one's failings as disgraceful, with no redeeming value and to be forgotten once. Yet know this: any attempts to forget will be in vain, for the memory is likened to a reservoir that retains all and will not allow it. Lying dormant in the recesses of the subconscious, it comes to life in the moment of opportunity, gleefully sending forth reminders of your mistakes to overwhelm you with fear and doubt. Don't you recall your defeat in a similar endeavor? Don't you recall your defeat in a similar endeavor? It will whisper at the moment you're inspired to attempt a great feat. Do not even try. It will convincingly soft, for you may fail again. To forget a mistake before seeking its lesson condemns you to repeat it and thus relive its pain. To defeat the memory's might, you must be likened to the wise man who faces his failings and seeks the destruction within. While not dwelling on the failure, neither does he flee when its memory returns. So too must be your plan. When a memory from your past revisits to restrain you, reflect upon your actions which brought about the mistake. Remedy what you can and pledge by heaven's grace that you will not repeat it. To learn from an error is to gain experience. To forgive yourself the error, freedom. It shall not be enough to simply learn from your mistakes. You must also forgive them. Why? The unforgiveness of self is likened to a prison whose walls grow closer every day. Unchallenged, its captivity can last a lifetime, and often does for those who refuse to forgive and break free. Proficient in the art of restriction, it rules the captive from within by commissioning the centuries of guilt and remorse to enforce its power. The errors of your past are permanent. These foot soldiers of unforgiveness will tempt you to believe and will imprison you the rest of your days. When these taunts of regret grow loud and find it difficult to pardon the mistakes you've made, force the powers, proficient in art. Oh my gosh, I totally off. When the taunts of regret grow loud, that's right, and you find it difficult to pardon the mistakes you've made, consider this. Does your Maker keep a record of your wrong following your sincere repentance? No, he does not mock you with reminders of your past defeats. Most certain, no. Does he mock you with reminders of your past defeats? Most certainly not. Why then should you be so cruel? You must not. While not excusing the unpleasant consequences of the decisions you've made or begging for relief from them, you must silence the reminders which prohibit your advance. 100% too. What you focus on, achieve, learn from an error, gains experience, forgiving yourself from their freedom. That's so true. I love it too. Okay. I feel like also that's the hardest part is like forgiving yourself though, because I know for myself, like if I make a mistake, I learn the lesson and I work better next time. But it's hard to forgive myself though, and so I'm slowly learning how to do that. And there's definitely freedom in forgiving yourself. The key to your freedom is forgiveness, and you will find it when you start within yourself. It is not a key of iron nor of stone, and yet its strength is sufficient to undo the strongest of restraints. Its liberating power is supreme, yet it turns on the smallest of words. Utter these words when you fear that your mistakes will forever follow, and the irons which bind you to them shall begin to loosen them. Let it go. These are the words which secure your freedom. Use them and be set free. If the memory of lost riches fill you with remorse, forgive the failed gamble and reap its shame no more. If poorly made decisions render you motionless with fear, pardon the wrong choices and decide to move ahead. And if the reminder of missed opportunity overwhelms you with regret, forgive the inaction and double your efforts in the venture before you. On the road to reach your potential, an unforgiving spirit will only slow you down. Lastly, you must forgive those who have wronged you, for the weight of this burden will impede you where you're headed. Regardless of the pain which you carry from another, leave it to your Maker to convict the one who caused it. Today remorse is it today remove its heavy yoke and bear it no more. Let it go. The journey to fulfill the call of your life is likened to a journey of 1,000 miles. It begins with a single step. Today, free yourself from that which holds you back. Take the first step and forgive. Release the past. This is a parable from the days of old, about the memory of the past and the power that it holds. Applicable to all, its message is profound. For each of us has something from our past that keeps us bound. Our story thus begins with a young man who was driven to find his Maker's purpose for the life that he's been given. In search of his destiny, he traveled and was led. An unknown path he journeyed. Then he saw her up ahead. She was beautiful and sweet, he could tell from afar, and she glowed with the light of the bright and morning star. He tried to move in closer, but she vanished like the wind. Who was this lovely lass, and from where had she been sent? As he watched her run away, he saw a string around her thumb, and was puzzled by this thread, which pulled her back from where she'd come. Enchanted yet perplexed, his interest had been piqued. Tomorrow he'd return, her acquaintance he would seek. Bright and early he'd venture out to see what he could see. He made his way into the woods once again. There was she. On the path she lingered briefly, then off without a trace. But one thing he was certain, she'd smiled upon her face. She retreated back from where she'd come. Back to his path he roamed, though again he was puzzled by the thread which pulled her home. This is strange, so he thought, as his heart began to yearn. I'll revisit on the morrow and pray that she return. The next day in the forest, she feared that she was gone. Then suddenly she came to him as if she'd been drawn. Though surrounded by the beauty of the nature and the trees, the sweetness of her spirit was all that he could see. Her face he took within his hands, her mouth he softly kissed. His life he'd searched and sought, but this magic he had missed. From the moment he first saw her, something deep inside him stirred. To the still voice he listened, "She's the one," is what he heard. They spent the afternoon hand in hand midst the trees. Their laughter and their words flowed abundant and with ease. They pleasantly discovered that their goals were much the same: to serve their Maker, seek his plan, and lead others to his name. As the daylight turned to dusk and it was time to say goodbye, he kissed her once again and looked deep into her eyes. "I do not mean to pry, but the thread, what is it for?" "It reminds me of my past," she sighed, "and binds me even more." Her pain was very clear and had bound her far too long, for something from her past would not allow her to move on. "If you meet me every day," he vowed, "I'll bring these things with me: kindness, patience, sharing. Maybe one will set you free." So in the woods they met daily, their spark became a glow, yet still she clutched onto the thread and would not let it go. Her destiny was calling, but she could not seem to find the courage or forgiveness to leave her past behind. Then one day the young man left a note upon the tree. It broke his heart to do it, but it's the only way, you see, for he'd sought his Maker's voice, and the answer was quite clear: the future is restricted if the past remains too near. His affection had not changed, there was nothing that she lacked, but they could not move forward while she remained held back. A journey for them he waited, he knew it to be so, but the girl could not depart until her past she would let go. So to those who are held captive by what happened long before, release whatever binds you to hinder nevermore. And when your purpose finds you, you'll rejoice that you are free to embark upon the journey that will lead to destiny. Chapter 3: Character. Build this before your empire. As with all great cities built to stand for the ages, Jerusalem is established on a bedrock of stone. The outer wall which protects it is likewise constructed, for the footings that support it have been set to such a depth That's true. That's a great line in the poem. The outer wall which protects it is likewise constructed, for the footings that support it have been set to such a depth that it cannot be moved. But what would happen if the plans for its foundation called for stones that were cracked? Or were it constructed with a base inadequate to carry its load? And what if the cities which might copy its design, unaware of the flaws concealed within? As sure as the sun will rise, each would collapse. Maybe not today or tomorrow, but the downfall of all would be certain and inevitable. And so shall it be in the building of your character. You may rise to a position of leadership based on charisma or personality, and indeed succeed for a reason. And indeed succeed for a season, but such unstable stones are not sufficient to sustain you. If you are to endure through the challenges which will come and emerge with a character worthy of replication, your life must be established on a foundation that will last. Integrity is the bedrock upon which character must be built. Honesty with self, the first stone to set in place. Do not bargain with life by coasting on talent or relying upon charm to reduce the payment required for success. Though such gifts have value, they are often misused by the short-sighted to avoid sacrifice. If you are blessed with talent in abundance or skilled in the art of charm, do not deceive yourself and others by hiding behind your gifts to conceal your unwillingness to work. For, as many have discovered too late, the cost of your discount will be great and soon subtracted from your character. Anything of lasting value demands that the price be paid in full before its benefit can be savored. The talent alone may propel you to submit to you. Though talent alone may propel you to the summit, you will not be allowed to remain, for your conscience and others will quickly remind you that you did not pay the price which was necessary to get you there. Cheat by avoiding sacrifice, and you swindle only yourself. There are no shortcuts in the construction of character. The price for tomorrow may seem expensive today. To correct its flaws tomorrow, following a failure, will cost even more. From this day forth, be honest with yourself and play with gladness whatever price is demanded for success in your endeavors. It is likewise essential to be honest with those whom you lead. For how can others have trust in your vision if your words speak not the truth? You are not a king and have not the authority of commandment. Thus, the power of your persuasion rests squarely upon the truthfulness of your word. Exaggerate your claims or offer up excuses for your unkept promises, and others will soon raise a skeptical brow to all that you say. Seek and speak truth in all that you endeavor, and the integrity of your word will be revered as royal. Tact is the velvet hammer which softens the blows of truth that is hard. You must be sensitive when your people approach you for your honest counsel or on a matter of importance. For though they request the truth, it may be uncomfortable, even unpleasant to their ears. But unpleasantness is not an acceptable reason to withhold its good, for truth is likened to the healing powders of the physician, though at times displeasing and momentarily discomforting, nevertheless necessary in order to reap the benefits of his power. Sprinkle the truth with equal measures of tact and love, but speak it nonetheless in all situations to all those who seek it. For that which is true, while not always palatable, is always profitable. When asked by those in your charge, how far must I journey to reach the summit of success? Reply in truthfulness that success is a decision, not a destination. Therefore, decide to reach it, and one most certainly will, regardless of the steps required. If questioned, the road will be difficult and lined with discouragement. If questioned, will the road be difficult and lined with discouragement? Replied with honesty that it will be, for sacrifice and setback are sure to accompany their travel. Yet encourage them to overcome their companies of adversity. These are companies of adversity. Oh my goodness, I can't read. Okay. Yet encourage them to welcome these companions of adversity, for adversity, once overcome, seasons the trip and sweetens the arrival. Oh, okay. I need a drink. And if queried, what is the ultimate purpose of my journey? Reply that a life of significance is the goal. Yet, like happiness, it comes only by service and never by seeking. Through the integrity of your example, encourage them to set aside their seeking and begin to serve. The height of your stature will never exceed the depth of your compassion. If integrity is the foundation of a leader's character, then compassion is the first pillar which must be erected upon its base. If you take great pains to construct your dwelling, but neglect the building of your family, your home will fall and your life will be for naught. If you preach with passion to the masses, yet turn away the pupil who's fallen behind, the words of your instruction will soon lose their power to inspire. And if you command thousands, yet have no concern for the soldier who is down, your victories will eventually be savored alone. Never become so proud or arrogant or impatient with another's lack of progress that your compassion for him is lessened. Though your focus remaineth firm, keep your heart tender toward those whom you lead, and they will know that you care. Give away what you need, and it will return to you multiplied. A leader with a generous spirit will find that he lacks for nothing. One of the greatest of our Maker's laws is that we must first sow into the lives of others that which we hope to receive. If gold is what you seek, you must begin to share the little that you have. If prosperity is your goal, then you must give of yourself to help others prosper first. And if life filled with love is your hope and desire, you must first love those whose lives link with your own. Henceforth, share of your gold to help those who have none. For the gold, for the for the man or woman who generously shall prosper with abundance, labor with the goal that others succeed. For he labor with the goal that others succeed. For he who builds another likewise builds himself. And give freely of yourself to those whom you love. For such is the well from which happiness is drawn. Be generous with all that you have, and you will rejoice as it returns to you 100-fold. The final pillar in support of your character must be commitment. How far can others follow your steps with conviction, even if you are not committed to the cause that you proclaim? Many among us speak eloquently and passionately of commitment, but in truth have confused it with effort. And while effort is a worthy component of any endeavor, it is not equal to the commitment. Effort rallies many with noble words and passion, but commitment is what remains when the crowds have dispersed. Effort exerts itself until it cannot go on. Commitment works through the pain until the job is done. Effort says, I will try and give its best, while commitment says, I will do and gives its all. I like that. Effort says, I will try and gives its best, while commitment says, I will do and gives its all. Let your commitment be to your cause be evident to all by your refusal to falter when your passion is faded. Beginning this day, strike the word try from your speech and replace it with do. No longer try your best, but in all, do whatever it takes to complete the task at hand. Finally, commit yourself to the matters which define your life and be unyielding in your conviction and dedication to them. To your family, commit your love and guide them unceasingly with the same. To those within your charge, commit your support and lead them with encouragement as they grow. And to your Maker, commit your every step so that he might lead you on the path which is prepared for you. The building of your character is a lifelong endeavor. Be unwavering for the duration in your commitment to its construction. Character. The deception of self is the worst of all lies, for it holds back our growth and limits our rise. We're convinced that we're building an honorable life, but continue to live in the way that is not right. Yet, if the foundation we build is not strong, our character will crumble when the storms come along. Two lives do we live, in discord do we fight, while the turmoil inside tells us something's not right. We have an ideal of whom we should be, but the falseness within restrains destiny. We may change for a moment when crisis comes near, yet when crisis is past, what paths do we veer? We're but fooling ourselves and causing our strife and prolonging or missing God's plan for our life. All he wants is what's best when he's placed on our trail, the trials that will test and our strength to unveil. But we shun what is hard, and we don't comprehend that we're harming ourselves when his rules do we bend. Hey, another one joined the live stream. How's it going? We may fool those who follow. For a while it may seem, but soon they will learn that our words do not mean what we say that we do, for our lives don't agree with the front that we show and pretend it to be. And then we'll have lost their trust and concern, and they will be gone to never return. So from now, humbly vow to be honest and true in your words and your thoughts. In all that you do, remove your disguise and take off the mask, so that no longer will those who follow you ask, what's their character like? For the truth will be plain, since your words and your life will be one and the same. Chapter 4, Vision. Focus on the dream, not the distractions. As the oil gives life to the flame, and the flame to the fire, your dream is what gives power to your plan. And it is your dream that will carry you when your body is weak. Your determination is depleted, and your people have deserted. Soon, if not already, setbacks such as this will occur, and you must give an answer when the voice within wonders loudly, why should I continue when such trials persist? This much is certain. Only when your dream is bigger than the challenge to it will you find the reason to press on and through. A dream is but a wish until it is written down. If you have not done so, cease what you were doing and write a clear and concise description of your dream upon the parchment, as well as a date by which you plan to achieve it. Do this now, for until your dream is written upon the parchment, it will not transfer to your heart. And until it transfers to your heart, it is only a wish and will not become reality. Also, post a description of your dream within your dwelling, that you may see it day and night. Likewise, carry it within your carriage, as a reminder that your dream has the power to transport you from your present circumstance. And lastly, carry it in your cloak next to your heart, as a reminder that your dream provides the beat to which you march. As your dream becomes crystallized, you will set in motion the force that will move you to accomplish great things. It matters not if you seek to increase your stature, prosperity for your family, or an improved lot in life, For the principle is the same. Power is released when the purpose is clear. With an energy that comes from knowing where you're going, you will no longer wander, wander through life with goals that are vague or with plans that are small, for these serve only to propel the mediocre farther down their path. Neither will you be content with sustenance, shelter, and a comfortable existence as the principal purpose for your toils. For such things, though important, are unable to satisfy the created need within you to grow, to stretch, and to achieve. From this day forth, dream and think big. And once grand and the once grand plans which inspirited your youth will return with vigor. Today rise from the rut of recent years, dust off the dreams which inspired your past, and live out your days enlivened with purpose. As your dreams grow, as your dream grows and becomes a part of your being, as your dream grows and becomes a part of your being, it's really funny because in this book, they are missing a lot of punctuation, so I keep reading and it doesn't make sense. I'm like, oh wait, there's supposed to be a comma here, but there isn't. So read through again, comma in my mind, continue reading. And so it's really weird. As your dream grows and becomes a part of your being, you must protect and defend it as if it were gold. For you will encounter many along the way who will seek to steal it from your grasp. If you are to succeed, you must acquaint yourself with these enemies of your dreams and become aware of their wiles and their weaponry. Opposition is promised to those with a purpose. Distraction will likely be the first foe who will seek to keep you from your life's purpose. As such, be wise when dealing with this enemy, for distraction is the most clever and cunning of the adversaries you will meet. Like the wisest of warriors, it knows better than to attack your dream head on, for surely you would see through its ruse and effectively counter. No, distraction seeks only to delay you, and it will tempt you to focus your efforts on other worthy endeavors. For it knows that if you will pause for a short while to work on other things will soon pull you from your primary path. Thus, when the journey to your dream is momentarily interrupted by the obligations in life, fulfill your duties with a cheerful heart, but remain focused on your dream and do not succumb to distraction. And who is the second ne'er-do-well you will surely encounter on your journey? It is none other than comfort. Like the first enemy, comfort is the most subtle in its attack. Comfort is most subtle in its attack and will lure you into mediocrity if you remain unaware of its tactics. Comfort cares not if you experience a moment of success or a moment of failure, a moment of elation or a moment of discouragement. Its refrain is the same. Stop for a moment and rest. It says, you have labored hard and you deserve it. For it knows that if you pause, either to rest or rejoice, your momentum will halt. Thus, when you are tempted to relish in the small victory of a moment or pause with pity in the face of a temporary defeat, focus your mind upon your dreams and press on, and comfort will not hold sway. Acquaint yourself with comparison, a close cousin to comfort, an equally crafty enemy of your dream. Comparison will typically arrive in your moments of setback and discouragement and will attempt to divert your gaze to those around you who have no dream. Why struggle so hard? It most likely will say, but your present lot is quite good compared to this one or to that one. When you're first attacked by this foe, remind yourself that comparison never directs your attention to one who has succeeded beyond you, only to those who remain at your level or below. Remind yourself that your maker has endowed you with talents, gifts, and a unique purpose to you, and does not chart your headway against your colleagues. Neither then must you. There is but one thing you need to compare, and that is your progress of today with your potential of tomorrow, and this will spur you to press on toward your dream. The first leg of journey is often traveled alone. There are many other enemies of whom you must be aware, but there is one that strikes closer to your heart than all the rest. This enemy uses fond recollections of days gone by as its principal weapon and enlists well-meaning friends to deliver the attack. On the road towards your dream, you will learn that many of your loved ones do not wish to travel with you, For it seems that comfort, comparison, and other such hindrances have securely bound them to their present station. You've changed, many of them will say. Why do you no longer join us in the activities of old? Sadly, a few will even ridicule your desire for an improved lot in life. Though your loved one's lack of understanding is troubling, this simple phrase from the wise men of ancient offers explanation for their misguided comments. The nail that raises its head above the others is the one that gets pounded down. Thus, accept that your loved ones are comfortable in their present state, and that their comments merely unmask their desire that you remain with them. But this you cannot do, for your Maker has birthed within you new life in the form of your dream, and you must press on. Be thankful for fond memories of the past and visit them on occasion, but do not succumb to the temptation to dwell there. Encourage your friends to join you on the adventurous road to the future. Yet know that most will not, and some in their ignorance will attempt to thwart your efforts. To all remain a friend, but do not allow the refusal to journey with you alter your destination or determination. The final foe you must overcome is the one with which you are most familiar, and the one with the potential to be your greatest ally, for it is yourself. For it is self in the form of doubt that will be the most powerful force you will face. Your other enemies are worthy adversaries, but at best can only pull you from your path. You and you alone hold the power of life or death over your dream. Do not give it into this power, but harness it to your advantage. When you become discouraged, think of your dream and press on. When you are afraid, think of your dream and gather courage. When you are tired, think of your dream and be refreshed. And when you are tempted to quit, think of your dream and double your efforts. From this day forth, acknowledge your dream as fuel for your spirit, and it will propel you past the plagues of doubt. Lastly, though you protect your dream as if it were gold, and repel the attacks from those who would steal it, what shall be done if a fire becomes doused and no longer burns with intensity in your breast? Humbly pray to your Maker to revive it, renew it, or spark within you another that cannot be put out. The power of purpose. When at first I began, I knew not what to do, and all I knew was that I wanted something more than what I knew. I stumbled and I struggled as I tried to share my plan, but they did not care to listen, nor even try to understand. Then one day it came to me, the answer, and I beamed. Till then I had not focused on a goal, much less a dream. So I stopped where I stood, and my dream I defined. For the first time I had purpose and a point to fix my mind. All at once I started doing what took a week in but a day. My life now had direction, and my dream propelled the way. Those close to me began to see a change in how I fared, and they wished to look again at the plan that I had shared. So I spoke to them with passion of the vision in my heart, and many were inspired to join in and be a part. Now we labor side by side, and our eyes upon the prize, each focused on our dream and purpose in our lives. And though the path is hard and its obstacles impede, we press on with persistence, for someday we'll be free. Chapter 5, Perseverance. The road to your success began when you chose it. Stay on it. In life, the trails which lead to the pinnacles of achievement are as numerous and diverse as those who set out to reach it. Yet all who arrive, having prospered in their quest, share this in common. Each selected a path at the start of their journey and persevered on its course until the goal was reached. As you forge ahead on the road to your dream, decide above all that you will persevere on the path that you've selected. For as equally as important as the route which you have chosen is your determination to remain on your chosen route till the end. To reflect with pride upon a job well done requires that you must first complete it. Success has many ways of testing the commitment of those who profess to seek it. Therefore, be prepared when the initial enthusiasm of your dream or endeavors begins to wane, and such is the moment that you will be tempted to abandon your undertaking and pursue another. This venture is more difficult than planned. The voice of discouragement likely will say, "Forsake this road for one that is easier." Resist, resist, resist this desire to quit and press on. For if in the middle of this challenge you hasten to embrace your next venture, you will surely abandon it in the moment of weakness when the third one has beckoned. Perceive this impatience as but a test of your commitment and persevere. He who jumps from one to another, trying all, succeeds at none. Begin this day to pledge to finish where you start, and start by acknowledging that ample opportunity exists where you are. Remove from your mind all thoughts of quitting, of seeking a better route, or of starting again elsewhere, and replace them with images of your endurance, persistence, and tenacity. Wherever your desires for prosperity or prominence, know this: you can get there from here, but you must persevere. Do not let your eyes wander to the new and untested ways, which promise an easier road to the fulfillment of your dream. When the enticing invitation of a new endeavor beckons, double down your commitment to the venture you have chosen and repeat these words: I will stay the course until I've prospered or perished. Though seemingly extreme to the faint of heart, this is a magical mantra that carries the power of completion upon its syllables. With repetition and conviction, this phrase will soon become as natural as the drawing of air into your lungs. Make it your motto when you are tempted to abandon your road for another, and steadfast you will remain. I will stay this course until I have persevered or perished. Okay. Half done is still undone. Heck yeah, Brendan. That's a great summary of the chapter. Write down your dream, and which equals compassion and conviction and passion, and then I'll stay the oh gosh, I can't talk. And stay the course until I succeed or perish. And at that point, that's where I'm at with this book. Because like I will finish the book. Like I have only this much left. It's not much. I will finish this book, or I will die in the process. Well, that's kind of unlikely. Maybe I'll die from the paper cut, but either way, I'm going to finish this book. Heck yeah, thank you, Brendan. Man, this is awesome. I love this though. Half done until I'll finish what he has started. No, half done is still undone. Moreover, be not likened to the sculptor who begins a work yet sets it aside before completion, unable to see the masterpiece hidden within. Though he discards the half-chiseled block of granite as worthless, the masterpiece is there nonetheless, waiting to emerge, if he would only finish what he started. As with the sculptor, how many times have you seen but a stone's throw from greatness, only to cease your efforts in a moment of frustration or fatigue? It matters not, but let this be no more. For until you complete the work you've begun, the work begun in you will remain incomplete. The venture set before you was presented for a reason. Persevere, and the masterpiece that is your life will soon emerge. Press on. Activity is not equal to accomplishment. As you develop the habit of perseverance, you must train yourself to delay the gratification of reward until the objective is reached. Do not cheat yourself and those within your charge by rewarding activity instead of accomplishment. For sadly, this premature rewarding of the prize will serve a duly detrimental effect. Not only will the negative habit of incompletion be reinforced, but the reward will not be able to be savored, for you and those who follow will know that it is not fully earned at the time it is bestowed. Effort and work are essential to the completion of an objective and deserve a measure of merit, but these alone are not the desired result, and therefore not to be rewarded on the same level with accomplishment. Stated similarly, is the wreath of honor bestowed upon the runner who begins the race or the one who finishes? Is an audience with the king granted to the warriors who begin the battle, or to those who return when victory is won? The answer is simple. The effort of those who embark upon the challenge shall deserve a corresponding measure of recognition, but the ultimate prize of honor must be reserved to those who persevere and accomplish the objective. In such matter, instill within yourself and within those whom you lead the proper correlation between effort and accomplishment and reward. Fix within your mind the goal for which you strive and discipline yourself to delay the gratification of its reward until the goal is reached. In doing so, you will savor it all the more. secure in the knowledge that you persevered through the challenge until the objective was obtained. The journey to complete the call upon your life has begun. Lash your sandals firmly on the ship that you've been. Lash your sandals firmly on the ship that you have boarded, and resolve to sail its course to the end. The parable of perseverance. Two young travelers ventured upon the narrow mountain track and vowed to one another there would be no turning back. They focused on the pinnacle and promised not to stop, for none had gone before. For none who'd gone before had ever reached the top. The first young man determined this would be his claim to fame, for the multitudes would cheer him and bring honor to his name. But the second man decided he would conquer this great hill just to prove to self his strength and the power of his will. So the two men started out full of promise and zest, but soon the path grew harder and their will received a test. The first young man had not prepared his mind for such a task. Could they stop for just a while? To the other he soon asked. The other, who was stronger, agreed to his request, but he knew that they must press on, lest they tarry in their rest, for he knew that the greatest danger when one undertakes a cause is to stop when things get difficult, and thus momentum pause. They went back to the journey once their strength had been renewed, each focused on exactly why the goal he had pursued. The first man had set out seeking honor and acclaim, while the purpose of the second was growth, not personal fame. His motive had been pure when he started on this quest. Recognition he'd not sought, only challenge and the test. He'd sought not fame nor glory, no medals nor awards, for he knew that challenge conquered is the greatest of rewards. The one who sought acclaim began to tire and to wane, for his reason was not strong enough to overcome his pain. Yet the one who sought the challenge gathered strength with every step, powered by his goal, and that his vow to self be kept. As they passed on toward the pinnacle, a lookout point appeared. Would they try to reach the summit, or be content to cease right here? For the view from here was marvelous. There would be no shame to stop. Besides, they were quite tired and still a long way from the top. A decision was thus needed, and each pondered in his heart, is it really that important to complete what I have started? While the first man paused to focus on his weakness at great length, the other chose to persevere and focus on his strength. And so their roads diverged. From there they parted ways. One chose to end his quest, one chose a trail ablaze. The first man, self-defeated, chose to settle for the view, while the second stayed the narrow road, resolved to see it through. He pursed himself to conquer this most difficult of paths, and fought to reach the top, though it took all that he had. Then, at once he saw it, and his pain quickly fled, for the goal he had sought rose to greet him straight ahead. He stood atop the mountain, where no one had gone before. He forgot about the struggle, to remember nevermore. His challenge was now conquered. What he'd started was now done. From now he'd but recall the personal pride at victory won. And then he reached the bottom. At the crowd he was amazed. It seems they'd gathered in great numbers for his feat to cheer and praise. Not only had he finished what he set out to attain, but tribute came his way, along with honor and acclaim. And somewhere in the crowd was the first man with regret, for he knew if he'd but pushed himself, the goal he would have met. But now it was too late. The chance for greatness he had spurned. Forever he would wonder if to him it would return. To those who face their challenges, to those who face the challenge and are tempted to give in, stay the course, persevere, and let the challenge win, and let not the challenge win. For when your road is conquered, you'll be proud that you had stayed. For 'tis then you'll have discovered just exactly what you've made. Chapter 6, Relatability. The path to success refuses any traveler who attempts to walk alone. Beneath the great press, by the olive growers' bins, is a vat which collects the precious oil for market. The bin will overflow with a harvest of plenty when the season of gathering has reached its conclusion. Yet will this fact alone ensure a great yield? It shall not, for the olives that will pass through the press are many. How much of the oil will pour into the vat where the pressman's funnel no longer than a hollowed reed? A few drops at best, while the bulk would rush by and be lost upon the ground. Conversely, how much of the valuable oil would be collected if the pressman's funnel were as large as the vat below? Indeed, nearly all. So, In your past efforts to draw others to your cause, have you been likened to the pressman who uses the hollow reed? How many prospects and potential confidence have unwittingly been turned away because your actions and perceptions would not permit their entrance? If the opening to your circle of friendship is restricted by your self centered view of the world, you will succeed in attracting to your fold a mere fraction of those whom you'll chance to meet. Were you called to be a scholar or contemplative sage, you could not labor in seclusion with no need to draw another. But you are not. To succeed in the journey you have chosen, you must gather to your caravan a multitude of many. How then shall you master the mystery of attraction? And what will compel great numbers to join you? The answer shall be found neither in the force of your persuasion nor in the nobleness of your pursuit, but in the level of your ability to relate to others. Where your giftings and talents are superior to all, still you would fail if you neglect this truth. But learn to relate to all manners of men in success, and the masses will follow your cause. And how will you acquire proficiency in this skill? Must you labor to learn some ancient technique, or perhaps seek wisdom from a modern day master? Neither, for all that you need was bequeathed you at birth in the form of your sight, your hearing, and your speech. You need only to correct your usage of these senses, and the ability to relate will be imparted unto you. So you must begin. No longer use the gift of your vision to focus on the flaws and frailties of another. Search instead for the virtue within him and bring it to light for all the world to see. Never pay attention to the whispers of gossip, nor allow your ears to hear words that slander or diminish. When the idle or the agitators commence their hurtful chatter, always speak up for the one who is maligned and sing of their qualities to all whom will listen. As for those whom you love, you must nurture and affirm, never ever mindful of the power that your tongue wields within it. Never must you criticize nor crush a tender spirit, but with great gentleness and patience correct their wayward steps. Seek always to build them with assurance and support, for such is the base from which their confidence may soar. As for those whom you lead, bolster with encouragement all efforts towards their goal, regardless of their skill or the rate of their advance. Words that discourage must not pour from your mouth, nor any speech that dampens another man, nor any speech that dampens another dream or desire. If one has a vision to improve his lot in life, offer what you have to hope to see it come to pass. For as those whom you seek to entice to your cause, never must you pressure if they share your passion, for such serves only to push them away. Instead, you must labor for a season without them, trusting that the seeds of opportunity that you planted will return a great harvest on some future day. To reach another, you must reach out to them where they are. With comparison, the new lens through which all must be viewed, never again scoff at the beggar in the street, nor turn with contempt from his outstretched hand of need. Instead, remember the ancient words of this prayer and silently repeat them when you're tempted to condemn. There, but for the mercy of my Maker, I go. Regardless of the choices which have led him to his plight, see him as a brother lost and help him right his way. No longer must you view yourself as a superior to any, for though purpose or poor, will your bones not return unto. No longer must you view yourself as a superior to any, for though prosperous or poor, will your bones not return unto the same pile of dust? Never walk so tall to think that you can never stumble, nor esteem yourself as wise and incapable of error. All forms of arrogance and conceit must be banished from your mirror, for such blinding self-deceptions distort your taste of worth, your sense of worth. Neither must you draw attention to your strengths nor boast of your talents that others might be awed. From this day forth, dedicate the usage of gifts that you've been given for one purpose only, to stir within others an awareness of their own. The Creator has endowed each soul with potential, and you are called to see it in whomever you shall meet. With this simple truth, the masses will receive you and the cause you've embraced. Without it, you will flounder, even though with those whom you love. From this day forth, you must view every person in one and only way, not as they have been or as they are, but as how they were created to be. For when you view your fellow men through the eyes of our Maker, compassion and humility will flow from your heart, and many will draw near to discover the source. Relatability. Many times with friend or stranger, with impatience have I erred, by attempting to enlist them before proving that I cared. Full of fervor and of zeal, I took no interest in their plight, and pressed them for commitment, long before I earned the right. Why am I not growing? What secret have I missed? What must I improve, if their hope I'm to enlist? How many have I pushed away, because I took no time to listen to their dreams before forcing them on them mine? Other times have I not recognized one's emptiness or pain, and spurred them for more effort, focused only on my gain? Though my calls to arms be normal, or grand beyond compare, others won't respond if for them I do not care. So from now I will correct my approach and appeal, halting all pressure, even tempering my zeal. With empathy I will listen and resist the urge to speak. This perspective of another at all times will I seek. For when my first concern is for another's point or pain, 'tis then I'll earn respect, and their trust begin to gain. Such is the only way my circle will expand. I must shine the focus off myself and on my fellow man. For 'tis only when another is convinced that I care will they listen with interest to the words I have to share. All right. I need to go use the bathroom. I'll be back in like 30 seconds. Okay, I'm back. Thank you for not leaving. All right, 7. Courage. With this as kindling, your cause will ignite. Warriors that are led by a captain with valor can alter the outcome of a battle thought lost. Armies that assembled behind a general who is fearless will drive larger forces from the field into the sea. And a king that stands unafraid when besieged, will inspire a blind and bind a nation to his side. Courage in battle, regardless of the cause, is required of the leader who endeavors to succeed. Though your call may not demand risk of life nor of limb, you must lead with courage as if it were so. Today you must confront that which you fear, for if you are to lead with confidence and courage, you must conquer the foes which have thus faced you down. And who are the opponents that must be vanquished before you can lead through valor and distinction? If you are like most, procrastination, fear of failure, and fear of others' opinions are the enemies which have caused you to waver when their path has intersected at the point of your own. But in fear of these foes, you will no longer tremble, if today you will face them and turn them away. Procrastination is simply the great fear of beginning. You must be the first of your fears to be conquered. Unique among the foes which dwell within your mind, procrastination does not attempt to frighten you with its power or scare you with its weaponry. On the contrast, it actually encourages you to begin those endeavors which cause you apprehension. By all means, confront that which frightens you, it says. But, and here lies the secret to its power, wait until tomorrow. Then conditions will surely be more favorable. This fear and subsequent postponement of the beginning will effectively neutralize those who are weak and must be overcome if you were to advance. There is but one perfect moment to confront this fear, and that is now. Procrastination is the most suppressing of your foes. Thus, its defeat shall require an arsenal which is equal to its challenge. Your Maker has graciously enlisted within your spirit a powerful ally to combat the paralyzing effects of this fear, and that is action. As water is to a flame, so is action to your fear. They are of opposing constitution and cannot coincide. Henceforth, call upon action when confronted with procrastination, and it shall be overcome. Begin at once by planting 3 simple words within your mind and repeat them to yourself over and over again. Soon this phrase will indwell within your spirit, and you will instinctively obey its command. When procrastination tempts you to postpone those things which you know must be done if you are to succeed, do it now. This shall be the battle cry that summons the brave warriors of action. Do it now. Repeat these words when the fear of beginning renders you immobile, and you will act. Do it now. Do it now. And the fear, which is procrastination, will retreat in defeat. Conquer this foe and do it now. Opportunity comes to all, but success is reserved for the bold. Has there ever been a time in your life when you sought and were presented with an opportunity that was golden, only to timidly refuse it in the moment of action? If so, there's only one explanation for your lack of courage. The fear of failure, with its imagined catastrophic outcome, was greater than your desire for success. If you are to be counted among the valiant and victorious, you must recognize that most fears of failure are irrational and seldom grounded in reality. Rarely will you be called upon to attempt an endeavor where the consequence of life or death hangs in the balance. Likewise, there are few opportunities that, if you were to fail, would require the removal of your loved ones from your home. Therefore, do not allow your fear of failure, with such imagined dire consequences, to prohibit you from attempting a multitude of worthy endeavors. From this day forth, when presented with an opportunity that is promising, ask yourself the following question: what is the worst that shall happen to me if I attempt this endeavor and fail? Shall you lose your life? Shall you lose your life? Probably not. Shall your loved ones be sold in the market as slaves? Again, the answer is most certainly no. When such irrational fears attempt to overwhelm you, simply pause and ponder this question. Upon the realization that no great calamity shall befall you, turn the fear that you have known into faith and instead ask, what is the good that shall come my way if I attempt this endeavor and succeed? With newfound boldness as your ally, embrace and attempt the opportunity which beckons, and you will succeed. The final accomplice you must enlist in your battle against fear is conviction. For this is the aid which will strengthen your resolve to stand up for what is right, alone if necessary, in the face of that which is wrong. In your journey through this life, you will observe many leaders who cast their finger to the wind of public opinion when a decision is needed, with nary a thought for a principle or conviction. You will notice others who fearfully bow to pressure from one group or another when their position is challenged or when threatened with loss of support. Sadly, these timid souls have no strength behind their great leaves and are easily intimidated by the forceful reasoning of others. Soon their influence will be rendered nil by their lack of conviction and their fear of others' opinion. How often have you expressed your beliefs with great courage when the battlefield was empty, only to retreat in fear when the mighty foes of pressure or conflicting opinion appear on the horizon? Let this be no more. Today, put away your timidity at once and for all. Summon the courage which comes only with conviction and stand upon the principle when coerced or opposed. Principle is to be prized above popularity. With conviction, likewise take to task the status quo, whose traditions are tired and in need of revision. No longer must you fear that your suggestion of change bestow upon you the mantle of unpopularity. Henceforth, if change is needed, stand with conviction and purpose of change. In like manner, no longer sit timidly in silence while the forceful words of the majority go unchallenged. When you know them to be untrue, if truth is needed, you must speak with conviction and challenge the untruth. This and every day carry with bravery the banner for that which is right, regardless of personal cost or benefit. And though the immediate consequence of your courage be not in your favor, trust in the trueness of your Maker's ledger, and that your account shall be credited in due time. From this day forth, stand with conviction, for the cause you hold dear. Boldly confront that which you fear and act. And courage, which is contagious, will spread throughout your ranks. Whew. Courage. A man once moved from the land he had known in the search of a village to live and call his own, but the village he chose to greet him with hate, for it seems that he was different, and they were afraid. His customs were unlike the ones that they knew, his skin also different from theirs in its hue, yet his heart was the same, but to this they were blind, for the heart can't be seen through a closed, narrow mind. I stumbled upon this injustice one day and was led to address it, for going my way. For wrong only grows if ignored and unchecked, lest those who are brave take a stand to correct. I challenged my friends to battle this foe, but most were unmoved to fight status quo. And then I asked my Maker, what should I do? Just what should I do? He said, start where you are. I'll draw them to you. So the problem I faced, though alone and with fear, yet within a short time a few gathered near. We met with the man and were moved by his plight. Now his cause we've joined, and together we fight. Soon many more joined our noble campaign, and our numbers grew strong. Momentum we gained. From the front I did lead, and not from the rear. And this wrong would be conquered, and with it my fear. We battled the foe, our confidence grew, while those who opposed us eventually withdrew. And now there's an army that spreads across the land, and because of the few who've taken a stand. For fear is no match to those with a cause who bravely confront and press on without pause. So to those who would lead, stand up for what's right. With courage and kindling, your cause will ignite. Okay. Chapter 8, Association. Those who journey with the wise shall likewise become, and the companion of mediocrity the same. Set before you at the age of accountability was the power to determine your course. Many choices, factors, and decisions have thus crossed your path, each with its own level of influence on the outcome of your life. But there's one factor that influences your fate more than all others, and that is the great law of association. Simply stated, you will become likened to those with whom you journey. Can a man walk with his companions through a fire and not be burned? No more can a herd pass through the stream and one remain dry. Such is the power of the law of association. For too many journey with the masses, traveling aimlessly with those who've traded for opportunity for security or challenge for ease. This mentality of mediocrity has permeated their being, and thus they've become. If the steps of your life have led you down this path, depart today from the meandering of the mediocre herds, and join with a caravan which journeys towards success. As iron sharpens iron, so too does one mind challenge another, and thus become stronger. From this day forward, surround yourself with confidence, who share your quest for growth, for you will challenge them, and they, you, and together you will grow. You must recognize, however, that many within your current circle will not share your desire for challenge and change. What then shall you do when your paths must be linked for a season? Accept them with understanding, yet encourage them to expand their horizon. Were you not once constrained in the camp of contentment as they are? As the burning coals ignite the cold one inside, so shall your zeal rekindle the dreams of others. In such manner shall their fire be fueled and blaze with the one you've begun. Hasten to where the prosperous gather and listen. The path on which you journey has been traveled by many who have flourished, and of these, many overflow with knowledge and desire to share it. If your prosperity is your goal, seek counsel with those who've excelled in your calling, that you might partake of their wisdom and learn of their ways. How, though, will this be accomplished if you have not yet achieved significant stature to insert yourself into their sphere of influence? Simply transport yourself to the places where they gather, and be likened to the sponge. Absorb the waters of their wisdom, and in due time you shall be filled with the same. Humbly listen to their words and assimilate their knowledge. so that you too may prosper as they have. And though it costs you in gold and in time, be not concerned, for the knowledge that you will gain will repay your investment 100, nay, 1,000-fold. Furthermore, single out a leader in your field who has prospered and whose character is worthy of your fellowship. Glean from their example and pattern your success after theirs. And though the outward appearance of their prosperity be apparent to all, be more influenced by the inner character which shows forth in their deeds. Covet not what they have, but aspire to be what they have become. Follow in the steps of a leader who is wise, and likewise you will become. When traveling on the road to success, decline all directions from those who have not yet departed. As you journey, you must be careful to limit your association with those who know not of what they speak. If you seek to earn 10 measures of gold per year, whose instruction should you heed? The one who earns 10 or the one who earns 2? Heed the words of the one who earns 10, for the one who earns 2, though he speaks with authority and sincerity, does not know how. When tempted to follow sway to their persuasion, yet empty speech, treat their words as a tongue which you do not understand, and banish its sounds from your ears. Seek instead the counsel of those who have achieved the goal for which you strive. For in all matters, the words of one who has prospered are far weightier than the words of one who has not. A mind once embarked upon the journey to wisdom seldom returns to the thinking of its past. Finally, as you begin to understand this law of association and power, you must apply it to the written word that you allow into your mind. The mind is a storehouse with great capacity, but is often filled with dubious knowledge and meaningless trivialities. In truth, much of this, though at times interesting and entertaining, is of insignificant value. Henceforth, monitor closely the words which you allow you congregate within your mind. Balance the interesting and entertaining with a heavier dose of wisdom, and use the words to challenge your thinking, improve your skills, and enhance your station in life. Take special note of the scrolls of wisdom which have passed through the ages. For like wise counsel, they are available for your benefit if you seek them with sincerity. Dwell among those writings and read them to your advantage, for though the author may be long departed, in such ways shall you learn from his words as if he were here. From this day forth, associate with the words and the ways of leadership. From this day forth, associate with the words and ways of leaders who are wise, and likewise you shall become. The Proverb of Association. This is a tale of 3 young men who set on a course to lead. Each was influenced by his peers, and soon their ways did heed. For it seems there's a principle that dictates whom will be, more than birth, more than heritage, even more than deeds. This law is set in stone, full of truth ever sturdy, and says that we'll become just like those with whom we journey. So choose your counsel wisely, for this has much to say, with whom you will become when tomorrow is today. The first young man convinced himself a title was the key to make the masses follow him, and thus a leader be. Foolishly he chose only friends of similar mind, namely those who sought prestige and the honor place in line. Like within those circle, he was soon obsessed with status, and like them walked with haughty pride when on the streets he passed. To be sure, some did respect his position did bestow, but most saw right through him for the falseness of his goal. Although he had risen to the title of renown, the proverb of association served to bring him down, for it seems he had been influenced by those within his sphere, pursuing and consumed by the status they held dear. And when his days were dwindling and his title was no more, the masses had no reason to regard him as before. He'd become like his companions, never earning true respect. Goodwill he'd never shown, and compassion did neglect. Thus he traveled to his grave, a failure evermore, like his friends only seeking the title at his door. The next young man surmised that wealth would bring acclaim, so he sought friends with gold to enhance his humble name. What he did not understand is that gold is but a source to secure material items, and respect it cannot force. Nonetheless, he endeavored, and much wealth did acquire, and soon he was accepted in the circles he desired. But instead of seeking those who had the wisdom with their wealth, he sought others like him, only interested in self. For so they gave to charity, but in the public square. To be certain, others saw them when their gold they chose to share. By their ways he was influenced, and like them soon became, treating those with less than him with rudeness and disdain. Then, sadly, in the end, all his gold disappeared, and so likewise did the so-called friends, whose ways he had revered. Influenced by their wealth, he had failed the greatest test, and not invested in those things which bring true happiness. He pushed away his loved ones and become just like his friends, on a lifelong search for gold, finding nothing in the end. The third man took a different route, and sought not friends but things, and sought not friends with things, for wisely did he understand, respect these cannot bring. Instead he chose to congregate with those who had pure in heart, in hopes that he might gather of wisdom they would impart. As he watched and observed, the leaders he perceived were the ones who were served without regard for what they might receive. So he chose them to be a friend and learned the noble traits. He joined them as they humbly served, their ways he'd emulate. He walked with them at length, and in time their ways obtained, and like them he did earn respect, and thus influence gain. Through through the power of this proverb and its law he had succumbed. Because he walked with those who led, a leader he'd become. He'd stumbled upon a principle that is no mystery, for it seems that with whom we walk thus determines whom we'll be. For good or for bad, we'll accumulate those traits of those with whom we journey and elect to congregate. So if you seek to prosper, learn this truth and make it known. Choose companions wisely, for their ways will be your own. Chapter 9, Example. Example is the only currency which buys lasting commitment. Though a visionary's effort is the platform from which all great movements are launched, there has never been a cause which was carried to the completion solely on the back of its leader. Likewise, there is no record of a general who defeats his foes while his troops stood idly by, and never has a king single-handedly repelled the conquering armada of his counterpart while his own ships remained in the harbor. History tells us that solitary success on the grand scale is unachievable, for nothing great has ever been accomplished alone. The triumphs which are recalled for 1,000 years occur only when a courageous leader and the inspired masses come together in a cause that is larger than either. And so shall it be with the venture you've embraced. Though your heart bursts with passion for a purpose that is noble, your visions of success are in vain, lest others are inspired to join the cause for which you toil. How, then, shall you gain the influence which inspires others to action? Shall it be the eloquence of your speech? Shall it be the eloquence of your speech? No, for many have ability to stir their audience with emotion, but lack the power of lasting persuasion. Shall you entice them with riches? Likewise, no. For loyalty purchased by promise of land or loot, shall fade when the rivers of reward cease to flow. Shall you harness their help by force? Most certainly no. For countless others have coerced their charges to comply under threat of the gallows, only to see its rope around their own neck when the wind of rebellion stirs the air. We're grateful that you have not gold, nor land, nor the strength of hand to compel others to your cause, for the cooperation secured by such things is temporary and will not last. The source of enduring influence that is not in your power or compassion or promise of pay, but in your example. For 'tis only when you demonstrate the depth of your conviction will others commit to your cause and refer it to their own. Your writings they may read and forget, but your voice they may hear and ignore. But your deeds they will see and remember. If your words are to carry weight, you must henceforth back them with the force of your example. If your teaching and instruction are to impart with credibility, you must demonstrate that which you've done. And if your cause is to attract another to embrace it, they must witness you live its message each day. The group will go far when the leader goes first. Never demand another to undertake a task which you find unpleasant. Begin the work, and they will be quickened to help. Neither ask others to walk where you are unwilling to tread. Embark upon the path, and they will soon follow. And above all, never request sacrifice when you have yet to pay the price. Be the first to give, and others will be inspired to do the same. It is your persistence in the face of rejection that will spur them to press on when the force of discouragement compels them to quit. Likewise, shall your feats of resistance to that which is wrong provoke them to stand for that which is right. And your unwavering faith amidst the shadows of doubt shall teach them to trust with assurance in the source of all truth. You have only one command to inspire the action of others, and it is simply thus: follow me. Let this be your cry as you lead your cause, and many will heed your call. The parable of example. Everyone agreed. The problem was quite great, for someone within their village had no food upon their plate. Let's see what can be done, the so-called leaders did resound, yet when the time for action came, they could not be found. They'd agreed there was a problem, but their lives it had not reached, so to their homes they'd returned, and they forgot about the need. They started with great fervor, but soon it swiftly passed, for passion without action quickly fades and cannot last. Occasionally they'd gather and themselves congratulate their grandiose intentions and their coins within the plate. But their actions did not match the pats upon their back, for they shunned those in need and turned away from those who lacked. They went about their lives and with self became absorbed, while the problem in their midst was neglected and ignored. Let someone else address it, seemed to be the thought of most. Besides, I once gave gold, was the first they did off boast. But gold was not the answer, nor the greatest need, for what was needed was for someone to step forth and take the lead. All the while the problem grew and refused to go away, while those with power to help chose to look the other way. Then one day, one among them made the choice to take a stand. Alone she faced the problem and began to lend a hand. Her talents were not many, no great thing had she attained, but because of her example, great respect she soon had gained. By her willingness to act, those in need knew she cared, and others from her circle were compared to give and share. When they witnessed her example, they aspired to be a part of the movement she had started with compassion in her heart. They gathered up the excess of their gold and of their bread and shared it with those among them whom before they had misread. And soon the total village was involved in the need, and all because one among them made the choice to take the lead. She understood this proverb, and this principle did prove, for it is only when you lead the charge will others follow you. So if you face a challenge where the work is unbegun, initiate the action, and a leader you'll become. Chapter 10, Perspective. From the vantage point of the eternal, only the important is exposed. Like the shaking of the earth, the challenges of life are beyond your control and often arrive without warning or notice. While a measure of suffering, setbacks, discouragement, and defeat is promised to the plate of all and thusly apportioned to at the allotted time. For many, when such hardship is joined with their journey, they beg pitiably for reprieve from its pain, seeing only its difficulty and never its design. For others, when trials and trouble appear on their trail, they flee a great fear and refuse to press on. But a few know these fires have been sent to refine them and endure them to emerge emblazoned with strength. But what means or method do they brave the furnace? By what means or method do they brave the furnace? Or must others wilt in the heat of the lesser flames? The answer is perspective, the strong view their trials from the height of the greater good, while the weak from the shallow depths of their discomfort. Were you to walk alone on the sojourn of life or narrow field of vision, were you to walk alone on the sojourn of life, a narrow field of vision would surely suffice, but you do not. For others now look to you for guidance in this direction. What must you do to elevate your view when your feet become mired in soil and misfortune? Only one force shall boost you to the point of clarity when answers and discernment have fled from your midst, and it is your attitude. Henceforth, pose one simple question when faced with a setback, for its utterance is as a wind to the eagle's wings, and will lift your point of view to the ridge of understanding. Its words are simply thus: what treasure has arrived, disguised as this trial? No longer must you cower in fear when adversity appears as an enemy at your door. For perhaps it was sent that you might sharpen your skill. Neither mourn the loss of desertion. Neither mourn the loss of desertion should reduce your troops to near nothing, for perchance it paid visit to sift the weak from your ranks, and waste not a word lamenting its delay, if success should prolong its visit for a season. Consider that your character was not ready to receive it, and embrace the extra time as required to prepare you. When the voice of resistance to your vision is fervent, receive it not as mutiny, but welcome it as a chance to restate your common cause. When the drummers of dissension beat loudly, hear them not as an insult, but step with them a measure and return them to their march. And when the wayward flames of those who oppose you burn zealous, face them without flinching, for the fires of their passion, once rekindled with your own, shall forge you as one. With your vision unveiled by this elevated view, never again will you withdraw in despair down the path of self-pity and curse the challenge which shadows your steps. In the light of this eternal, you will seek its true purpose, and rejoice and be grateful when it is revealed. Though the fog of limited perception has proceeded to lift, and though the fog of limited perception has proceeded to lift, and your perception has begun to change, still there is much that is shrouded from your sight. How, then, shall you guide yourself and others past the plains of the unclear, through the forest of the unseen, and beyond the horizon of the unknown? There is only one answer. You must walk in the light of the one who sees all. For in this lamp, only the important is exposed. The parable of perspective. A leader climbed the mountain trail to leave his trials behind, for it seems he'd lost perspective and his bearings could not find. His life's work he'd started with vision and with song, full of joy was his heart, but now it was gone. He felt as though the world had strapped upon his back, while the gravity of life sought to pull him from his track. As he strode along the ridge, he paused to reflect on the path that he had chosen. Had he somehow been misled? The higher he had risen seemed the burdens had decreased, and from pressure and adversity he could not find relief. He perceived all solutions on him, and did thus depend, while demands for his time were at never seeming end. Alone on the mountain top he fretted on his fate, and pondered on the purpose of the challenges he faced. And then at once his problems were reduced in scope and size, for slowly he began to see his world with brand new eyes. The splendor of creation he'd not noticed for some time, for his vision had been blinded by the focus of the climb. As he marveled at the beauty with perspective and with awe, his maker's handiwork made his troubles seem so small. A voice within him whispered gently to his soul, "These burdens that you face, I have them all under control. I'm the one who made you, not to mention this whole world. So do not be concerned when stones of strife at you are hurled. And do not be disheartened, for when your trials bring you pain, for someday you will understand that each was for your gain. Now go back to your journey and remember this each day. Keep all things in perspective, and you'll never lose your way." Thus he went back to his mission, and no longer overwhelmed by the challenges he'd faced at the station at the helm, refreshed and renewed with a vigor that was new. For now, he vowed to see things new. From now, he vowed to see things from the larger point of view. And whenever trials befell him and their cause was concealed, to the mountain top he climbed for the purpose to reveal. From this lofted point would all problems he behold, and watched with admiration his Creator's plan unfold. So no matter what the burden or the challenge faced by you, ascend to the vista, which elevates your view. For high above the problem do we see the larger plan, and 'tis there we gain perspective, and begin to understand. Chapter 11. Servanthood. Success will not hide from those who humbly serve. In this, the final teaching, we return full circle to the premise which began us. What is the divine purpose of your passage on this earth? And for what divine endeavors have your days been designed? Are riches and reward the only reason for your toils, or have your talents been entrusted for a higher task to complete? And why has the leader's book of Proverbs passed to you? Are you to learn its lessons with no goal but to prosper, or shall its wisdom be employed for reasons not yet revealed? Contemplate these questions and the call upon your life, and consider if your mission is in need of correction. With no greater sense of mission than to prosper and be praised, have your passions propelled you down the trail of empty treasure? Or perhaps you have succumbed to the seduction of success and deceived yourself to deem important what is not. Although riches and acclaim in great measure may you gain, are these to be the end to which your efforts are directed? Forbid this be so. For your life will be for naught if you carry to your grave no greater prize than these. How then shall you separate from the path of vain pursuits and set upon the road which shall lead to true reward? Start by examining the desires which detour you, and ask with indifference the following of each: what significance will this hold when my days are no more? Shall a storehouse full of gold Shall a storehouse full of gold carry any currency in the life which is to come? It shall not. Shall the fleeting praise of a man you for which you strain to fill your ears resound for even a second when you have departed? Likewise, no. The credit of such things shall account for nothing when the ledger of your life is closed. Why should you toil for prestige for which is passing, or for riches which must remain when fate has removed you? You must not. From this day forth, assign to them a measure of effort equal to their importance, and wear yourself weary for their attainment no more. There is only one road which leads to significance, and its steps are the same if a leader you shall be. Servanthood is the portal through which you must pass. Amend your quest now, that you might journey through its gate. Today, bring your search for riches to an end and begin to serve. It is only when you give with no thought for your gain shall your purpose be revealed, your stature be enhanced, and your life be filled with wealth, which is true. To those who have not practiced it, this principle seems peculiar, for its doctrine is at odds with the self-promoting ways which prevail in the land. Be honest, have you not often pondered doubt and disbelief? How is it possible to give what I have and expect to gain more? Won't the resources of my treasury and talent eventually be depleted if I serve with no regard for myself? As unexplainable as the origin of the Almighty, and as perplexing to comprehend, this law nonetheless worketh without fail. Give without regard for reward, and great gain shall return unto you. You must no longer question how this principle is so, but in faith begin to test it, and its truth will be seen. Do you desire to increase your standing and esteem? They will grow to great heights when you step from your platform and quietly serve. Do you wish gold and riches to abide within your chest? They will flow in abundance when you labor with the goal that your people shall prosper first. And what of joy and enduring satisfaction? They will flood your soul indeed when you have poured your time and treasure into the lives of those who have no means to repay you. Success will not hide from someone who freely gives, for it hastens to embrace all who humbly serve. Though this law is proved as truth, what shall be said of those times in your past which it seemeth to have failed? For your giving did not return either riches or respect. If you are honest in your reflecting, you will likely see that it is you who have failed and not this law, for your motives were misguided and your serving for selfish gain. Though you gave of your gold to those who had none, did you not secretly expect them to return it with interest? Likewise, of the food which was shared from your cupboard, was it to feed those who hungered, or your need to feel noble? And of the assistance you rendered to those seeking help, did you do so in secret, or announce it from the stage that you might bask in applause? So long as you cling to these self-centered ways, you will never helm the ship which others seek to follow. Today, depart from this course and begin a new life which is focused on others. Today, put away the selfish ways of your past and remove the lenses which have turned your gaze inward. Today, begin to give without regard for return, for 'tis then and only then will significance, stature, and lasting fulfillment be granted unto you. As the teaching of these principles approaches its conclusion, it is hoped that the essence of their truths has emerged. To gain, you must give without regard for return. To succeed, you must labor that others prosper first, and to lead, you must humble yourself to serve. This is the sum of knowledge you have received, and you must take it with you as you go forth from here. These are likewise the laws by which the great among us live. Embrace them as your mottos and be counted among them. Your sojourn upon this soil is brief and rushes headlong towards its end. The memory of your life will soon fade and be forgotten, but the legacy of your giving will live on in those you have led. No longer must you seek, but in all things you must serve, and soon those who follow will likewise do the same. There is but one purpose to your passage on this earth, and you've begun the journey which will see it come to pass. You are called to lead others to the land of true reward. Take the road of the servanthood. Take the road of the servant, and many will follow. Epilogue. I set out to discover the purpose of my life. I sought and searched with diligence, yet only found much strife. I traveled many roads and searched round and round, yet the meaning I was seeking was nowhere to be found. I then assumed my labor would contentment surely bring, and it seemed that for every season, but it soon became routine. I accomplished many things, they were notched upon my belt, yet the more I achieved, the more alone inside I felt. Though a leader I'd become with great numbers in my charge, the purpose I was after was obscured and still at large. Surrounded by abundance and outwardly much blessed, on the inside I was filled with enduring emptiness. I tried to fill the void with gold and with many things, and convinced myself that these would happiness bring. So I purchased and I bought and collected and acquired, yet the more I obtained seemed the more I desired. My trinkets brought some pleasure, but not true happiness, and when their newness became old once again, back to my quest. Once again, back to my quest. For all my earthly treasures and the gold within my till could not fill a space they were ill equipped to fill. I then resigned myself that my searching was for naught, for I could not seem to find the purpose I had sought. And then one day it happened, and all became quite clear. I discovered life's true meaning and the reason why we're here. On a dusty road I traveled when I heard a cry for help. In the bushes on by the roadside was a stranger who'd been felled. It appeared he'd been beaten and in need of helping hand, but my first thought was to pass him by, for I knew not this man. I continued on my journey, yet the quiet voice within whispered, "Go back to that man and stop and comfort him." So to the stranger I returned, unsure of what to do. But when I saw him in pain, my compassion for him grew. I took him to an inn, and the keeper I then paid for lodging and for food as long as he need stay. As I went back to my journey, tears of joy began to flow, for I'd found what I'd been seeking, and the truth I did now know. I now did know. You can strive to be a leader with influence over all, but if you seek instead of serve, you've missed your maker's call. So waste not a moment on pursuits that cannot last, but start to give, and what you'll find is joy that will not pass. For it seems that life is found not in what we get, but at the point we start to serve is where it all be met. So to those in searching for meaning, I've but this advice to give. Give without concern for self, and then you'll start to live. The end. All right. Well, that is the end of the book. It was Brent, it was a fantastic book. I got it for Christmas from my parents, and I just haven't read it yet. And I figured, you know what, I want to do a live stream. I'll just read it from cover to cover. And so, yeah. What was your favorite parts about the book? What was your favorite principle that you'll take to heart? I don't know. I keep going back to the one. Facts. I know. That's where I'm at. There's just so much. But I think it all just sums up into servanthood. Like, if we're truly serving others, then we'll have that confidence and we'll have that courage to move forward. We'll be able to push through fear. We will be able to forgive ourselves. Like, it all kind of just wraps into that one of serving others and helping others. As we hope others progress on their path, then we progress on ours. And so I think that's the biggest takeaway from the book, is to work to help others. And so, yeah. But it was great to meet you, Brendan, and I hope that you have a wonderful day. Bye.